What's going on, man? Welcome back to the basement. I'm Ron, and today we're going to go through my 6 sneaky starts for Week 14 of the fantasy football season. It is pretty much do or die. A lot of us are probably in must situations. Some of us without our quarterback and Kyler Murray, or Trey McBride is on bye as well. You have injuries going around the league on top of all of that. So some of us might be in some tough spots where we need to kind of stream a flex or stream a quarterback or stream a tight end spot this week, and that's what this video is going to go over. The players that are less talked about off the beaten path for Week 14. So again, our sneaky starts. As always, if you enjoy, make sure down below, subscribe, leave a like. Let's go. Now, our first sneaky start is actually going to be a 2-for-1 special. We have the Kansas City Chiefs running backs. Now, it's not really anything you guys don't already know. I imagine all of us kind of got the Isaiah Pacheco news yesterday, and I just kind of wanted to give you guys my opinion, because I know a lot of people sort of, have asked me, Ron, what are we doing with this Kansas City Chiefs backfield? How do we feel about it? Well, let's kind of just go over it real quick. First up, Isaiah Pacheco already ruled out. So now the next guys in line are Jerick McKinnon and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now, they are both going to be at home versus the Bills. It should be a little bit of a shootout here. Expert consensus still isn't caught up here. McKinnon's RB61, CEH is RB52, whereas McKinnon is my RB27 and Clyde Edwards-Helaire is my RB32 this week. So I would call both of them fringy RB2 starts. I prefer Jerick McKinnon, even though we've gotten reports of Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be the main guy, and of course he's higher ranked in consensus, and I get all of that, but we're chasing high-value touches in this offense. Now, high-value touches was a stat made by Ben Gretsch here, where it's just your touches inside of the 10 and your receptions, I believe. It's either receptions or it's targets. No, it's receptions. So you can see this is a chart from Sam Hoppen, and you can see the Chiefs, they're not at the top where the Saints, the Broncos, Dolphins, Lions, Cowboys, Eagles, San Fran, Bills, Jets. They are, then the Chiefs. They are 10th highest in high-value touches in the NFL. So we have plenty of those to go around, and that's why I like Jerick McKinnon more than Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And I think that Jacob puts it really well here, where he says Chiefs RB-wise. This is Jacob Sanderson. We've had him on the channel before. He's pretty sharp when it comes to RB usage, and he says Chiefs RB-wise, sounds like McKinnon is back in for this week. Would expect CEH to see 60 to 70% of carries in neutral script. McKinnon will have a package of plays in neutral and long down and distance and 2-minute drill and negative game script. Expect Pacheco's early down design receiving opportunities to go McKinnon's way. So sort of what we're expecting here is Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be your between the tackles grinder, probably the preferred goal line back, but we've seen a lot of the times McKinnon score touchdowns. He scored a touchdown, I believe, in the Germany game versus the Dolphins on a little swing pass. He gets involved a lot in the passing game in the red zone for Jerick McKinnon, so I'm not all that concerned if Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the preferred guy on the goal line. McKinnon's also going to be out there in 2-minute drill, passing down situations, and this, I believe, has the second highest over-under of the slate. Buffalo versus Kansas City. It should be a shootout, plenty of passing situations, but on top of that, I think both of them are startable. That's why I have both of them inside of my top, 35 running backs here, where you have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's probably, to me, kind of it's sort of like Gus Edwards, Keaton Mitchell, where Clyde Edwards-Helaire is Gus Edwards here, where, he's going to probably get 12-ish carries, maybe a goal line opportunity, and then McKinnon's going to be out there for all of the juicy stuff that we want involvement in. And on top of that, the Bills are actually a little bit soft when it comes to pass-catching running backs. If we look here, this is the edge from the 33rd team here. In terms of targets per game allowed to the running back position, the Bills are allowing 7.5 targets per game to running backs, tied for third highest with the Bears there. So there should be a lot of targets out of the backfield to go around for McKinnon. But regardless, both of them are in decent spots. So my preference is McKinnon, but I think both of them are startable. If you have a 0 RB team or a hero RB team and you're down bad, you need a running back spot here or a spot start, I think either will work, but I would lean McKinnon. Now, after that, we have our second must-start player, or actually our third must-start player is Jerry Jeudy. Or not our must-start, but he's a sneaky start this week. Jerry Jeudy's had a pretty down season, but I think that this sets up for him pretty nicely in Los Angeles versus the Chargers. He is consensus wide receiver 46. He is my wide receiver 43. So I'm 3 spots higher than consensus here. And he finds himself in a really juicy matchup versus the Chargers, who are allowing the third most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. Now, that would favor Courtland Sutton, but if we look a little bit deeper than that, they actually sort of line up for the slot receiver, which is where Jerry Jeudy operates this year. They allow 21.6 fantasy points per game to the slot, 17.6 out wide. That's one of the rare instances where a team gives up more points inside than outside. They also run the 11th highest zone coverage rate in the NFL. So they run zone at a high rate. They're weak in the slot, and that's what Jerry Jeudy kind of thrives against. Now, he is the main slot receiver on this team. He runs 64% of his routes, 65% of his routes from the slot to Courtland Sutton's 22.7%. And then on top of that, we have both of their yards per out run and receiving grade versus zone. And that's where Jerry Jeudy, 1.49 yards per run isn't amazing, but it's better than what Courtland Sutton's been this year, and it's the coverage that Jeudy has been better against. If you look at his yards per run versus man, it's much worse, whereas Courtland Sutton absolutely decimates man coverage. He's been at like over 2 yards per out run versus man this year, but on a team like this that's going to run about 80% zone 80% of the time, it kind of lines up in a nice spot for Jerry Jeudy, where, again, highest slot percentage on this team. He also has the best receiving grade versus zone on this team. And there's some upside for a little bit of a shootout in this game where it is tied for the 5th highest over-under of the slate at 43.5. So that's not bad at all. There should be points, and Jerry Jeudy, I think, is in a good spot to kind of take advantage of a soft LA defense. Now, our 4th sneaky start of the day here is going to be Joshua Kelley. In that same exact game, he's going to be at home versus Denver. Denver's been absolutely terrible against running backs this year. He is consensus RB42. He is my RB39 at home versus Denver. I'm 3 spots higher than the consensus here. And the reason that he is a little bit of a more favorable play than usual is because of these comments from Brandon Staley. Now, I don't usually buy into a lot of this kind of stuff, but Austin Eckler's been awful. Staley came out and said this week, competition for carries is going to be something that you can see happening. We're going to keep exploring, make adjustments so that we can find that rhythm that I've been talking about. So it seems like he wants to get Joshua Kelley involved, maybe Isaiah Spiller involved here. And I like Joshua Kelley as like a desperation spot start here. If we look at the the game logs from last week, right, week 13 versus the Patriots, he played 43% of the snaps. That's his highest since week 4. So that's, the most usage he's seen in a while. He had 6 carries, 3 targets. So if he can just kind of hover in that same area where I think he's probably going to flirt with like 50% of the snaps, 10 plus touches, and he's going up against a Broncos team that is allowing the most fantasy points per game to opposing running backs. And on top of that, he is available in 85% of leagues. So again, if you are in a desperation spot, right, we don't know what's going to happen with Kenneth Walker, right? Like if you're planning on starting Kenneth Walker and he's a late inactive, you have Breece Hall as well. Breece Hall is much as I hate to say it, he's a true 50-50 to play. He has been kind of like limited in practice. He has something wrong, I think, with his ankle. Joshua Kelley, to me, is a really decent, like, break glass in case of emergency option. I wouldn't, put him in your lineup if you don't need to. But again, if you're in a rough spot and you're looking at, just like absolute scrubs off of waiver wire, I don't mind Joshua Kelley. Now, our 5th sneaky start is a repeat, but it's also because he's available in like still 95% of ESPN leagues, and it's Brevin Jordan. Brevin Jordan, we talked about it last week, but really fun high school recruit. He was listed as a wide receiver in his final year at Miami, 5-star coming out. He just didn't really test all that well. He's kind of undersized, and he's not athletic enough to, overcompensate for that, but he's still a receiving tight end, and we saw that last week where this is, the whole reason that we're actually bringing up Brevin Jordan, I should have mentioned this, is because Dalton Schultz is not expected to play again, and if he misses time here, that's a good thing for Brevin Jordan. He's going to be on the road versus the Jets, which is a tough defense, but he's consensus tight end 20. He's my tight end 15 this week, and I think that the Jets defense, for as good as they are, and as much as I love the Jets defense, the middle of the field, their safeties and linebackers is the weak part of that defense, right? The defensive line's great, the perimeter corners are great, even the slot corner's great, but when it comes to tight ends across the middle, they aren't all that amazing. Where if we look at touchdowns given up to the tight end position on the 33rd team, the edge tool here, you can see the Jets have given up 7 receiving touchdowns to tight ends, and it's not even like they're good tight ends. It's not even like Travis Kelce went for 4 on us or something. He didn't. You have last week, it was Michael Pruitt on the Falcons. Before that, Michael Mayer scored his first touchdown versus the Jets. Tight ends get in the end zone versus the Jets. So I don't mind Brevin Jordan, especially a guy like Brevin Jordan where, the Jets are going to have to worry about Nico Collins on the outside. They're going to have to worry about Stroud and whatever he's doing. It wouldn't shock me at all if Brevin Jordan snuck into the end zone. And Brevin Jordan last week had a good enough usage profile to feel good about starting him. He had a top 12 finish. He had 9 PPR points. Not that great, but still a top 12 finish. You'll take that if you're streaming a tight end. At least he didn't give you a goose egg, right? 9 points last week. 69% of the routes, which is fine. Anything over 65% is pretty good. Anything over 70% is great. Just about 20% of the targets. Like, that's all you could ask for. Brevin Jordan was a decent start last week, and I think he's in a spot again where he should be just fine against the Jets defense. Now, our last player here, we just did our tight end stream of the week. Now we have our quarterback stream of the week, and that is Josh Dobbs here. Josh Dobbs finally gets his full, weaponry here, where he's going to have Justin Jefferson healthy, back in the mix. He's going to be on the road versus Las Vegas. He's consensus QB 13. He's my QB 12, so I'm not really all that higher than consensus, but I can't really put him much higher than that. But he is still available in over 50% of ESPN leagues here. And I absolutely love the matchup. The Vikings are projected for 21.75 points by Vegas. That is tied for 11th most in the NFL this week. And they're also extremely rusher-friendly to the quarterback position. Now, this is a great tweet from Ryan Heath here. It didn't get nearly enough love, to be honest, so I wanted to mention it. The Las Vegas Raiders against QB scrambles this season have allowed 8.5 yards per carry, the 7th most in the NFL, 16.7% of runs to go 15-plus yards, 5th most in the NFL. Since joining the Vikings in Week 9, Josh Dobbs has led all quarterbacks with 17 scrambles. So this is a perfect spot for him to get it going in the rushing game, get some nice yards on the ground, give you a nice, 18 to 20-point game at quarterback in a dome environment on the road here. Josh Dobbs, to me, pretty easy fringe QB1 for this week. Now, that's going to do it for today, but I will say, make sure you check out Underdog Fantasy. Of course, they give us that sign in the back. They are the best. They are the biggest sponsor for the channel here, and they give out these free new customer specials. They're great. If you're new to Underdog Fantasy, use promo code RON, and they will match your first deposit up to $100. I'm trying to find the ticker for it. But nope, not it. Not it either. I don't have the ticker across the bottom, but it doesn't really matter. Regardless, Underdog Fantasy, make sure you check it out. Promo code RON. I'll have a link in the description in the comment section down below. Click it. It'll take it to Underdog Fantasy. It'll use promo code RON. It'll match your first deposit up to $100. And then sitting for you in the pick'em lobby will be this Dak Prescott higher or lower 0.5 total yards. It's pretty much a freebie. You go higher on the 0.5 total yards. Of course, you'll have higher than 0.5 total yards. And then I also found two guys from this list that I kind of like their lines this week. We have 43.5 receiving yards for Jeudy higher, 16.85 fantasy points for Josh Dobbs higher. You can throw in the Dak. You have 3 of them. That'll 6 extra money. And if you want, you can throw in some other stuff, some highers, some lowers. If you want to dabble in basketball, they have all that for you as well. On top of that, they have a bunch of playoff contests that are very, very fun. I've been messing around with the gauntlet where you sort of draft playoff teams. You have to kind of think through the playoff scenarios and stuff. They have a lot going on Underdog Fantasy, so if you haven't already, make sure you check it out. Promo code RON. But if not, I appreciate you for watching anyways. Good luck this week. It is do or die. I hope that all of you guys get wins out there. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one.
Stones, like this froze, ice cold, I surround my body like